Hello and welcome to the final podcast of the Haru Basho workup. It's Team Tachiai here, and we're about to do our preview and our always regrettable predictions. We have with us Andy joining from headquarters, the man who invented Tachiai. Say hello.
Hi.
We also have our man in foreign lands, none other than Josh, looking like he's in some sort of mad sultan's toilet. Say hello, Josh.
Hope I don't get flushed. Hello.
That's right. I'm Bruce, associate editor and otherwise guy who takes much of the blame for Tachiai. So let's get straight into the frivolities of our final segment. So Josh, you're currently in Osaka, sort of one of the centers of how should we say infestation in Japan. People are a little freaked out. Things are kind of closed down, aren't they?
Yeah, it's weird about Osaka because the report came out from NHK World, I think, yesterday that people have got the virus here from just going to concerts. There's a string of live gigs, which has sort of caused people to come down with the sickness, as it were. So yeah, I mean, as it relates to sumo, though. Because Keiko, in and around Osaka, which is usually open, has been closed to fans and less open to media. That means there's less information to be found, although our old mate Kinta Mayama has sort of rooted out some info, and Haruth as well. As we've covered, though, before, both in our discussions and in the interviews that we've done on the site with folks from NHK and et cetera and so on, the reality is you don't get a lot of useful information from Keiko anyway.
Right.
Guys might be trying new things or saying that they're fully fit even if they're not, and no one says they're not fit because their opponents need every advantage they can get. You may remember Enho beating Sadanoumi in his first tournament and saying, "Oh, I knew he was having problems with his legs, so I got in and under and went for a leg pick." So you don't want to clue any of that stuff in. So in some respects, I think the fact that we don't have information, maybe it's not all that different because the information we do have is pretty useless anyway. What I can tell you is Goedo probably still looks great in training, and I guarantee he won't win any matches this tournament. So,
come on, he almost lost a fight with his blue jacket today.
That was pretty epic.
There's not a whole lot of media hitting the social sites from the NSK. It's given a very strange vibe. Is that normally by now they're flooding the zone with a lot of hype to get people ready for sumo, and it's almost as if they want people not to focus on the tournament. It's one of the strangest things. Andy, have you noticed it too?
Yeah, it was really weird. They had just tweeted the Banzuke, not the Banzuke. They had just tweeted the Dohyo construction video, right. And it was a little bizarre to see people with the face masks. And I didn't see any beer bottles in sight, and so it just seemed rather sterile.
Yes, we're doing our thing. Yeah, don't worry about it. We got our routine down.
So
right.
I mean, I'm just hoping that they're gonna get through the whole fortnight and
So let's go around. Do we think that we'll actually get through all 15 days with no one getting sick? Because they've said as soon as the first Rikishi test positive, the tournament's done. Andy, do you think they can make it 15 days, given that there are recent new cases in Osaka with nobody getting sick?
I'm going to have my fingers and my toes crossed for the next 2 weeks. So yes, it will finish.
Josh, do you think they can make 15 days?
Well, it's hard enough to do sumo predictions, so I'm not going to do medical predictions. But knowing the situation.
Wise.
I think that at some point someone will get sent home, regardless of whether they actually have the virus or not. I mean, when you think you've got 600 people competing, people compete while they're under the weather all the time. So with the enhanced scrutiny around that, and given that it's kind of the season to be a little under the weather, I think it feels inevitable that someone will be sent home. But whether that's enough to, whether that triggers a positive virus result, I think is a different story.
Bruce's prediction: they are done by day 9 because somebody's going to get sick, and we just all hope it's not a Kanban Rikishi, because that would be a huge hit. So let's pretend that Andy's right and they're gonna rack it all the way through to 15. I want to know everyone's thought. Can Asanoyama hit double digits and keep his Ozeki hope alive? Josh, go first.
Yeah, why not? I think by this point we know that he has the physical and the technical capacity to win 10 matches against the current slate of opposition at his level. I think the bigger question is mental
Yeah.
and whether there's any pressure on him from himself or from others. If there is, will that distract him? Or is he able to keep his cool and stay focused? I think that's the question.
All right. Andy, thoughts about Asanoyama? Do you think he'll make double digits?
Yes, I do, and yes, I think that he will finally beat Endo. Um,
Whoa,
I mean,
bold.
he's lost to Endo three tournaments in a row. But I'm thinking that he's going to pick up his Ozeki hood this tournament, and I think he'll finally what's the word I just learned a new vocabulary word.
We'll come
And
back to
I
it. Don't worry
totally
about it.
forgot.
All right, so let's advance to the next topic I want to bring up. He who shall not be named shall now be named. You can't help but notice that sitting over at the Sekiwaki West slot is none other than Shodai. So Shodai really did very well in Hatsu. The tutelage that Yokozuna Kakuryu has been giving him is clearly starting to pay off. You're beginning to see elements of Kakuryu's reactive sumo show up in Shodai's matches. And this really could be the start of something very interesting. So we'll go with you, Andy. What are your thoughts about Shodai up at Sekiwake?
I He has been having an excellent two tournaments, and I think that with all of the froth up there at the top of the Bansuke, he is poised to take advantage of it. I don't see him necessarily having a fantastic barnstormer like 11 wins or anything,
Okay.
but Kachikoshi will be good.
All right, Josh. Consistency has been his biggest trouble. Thoughts about Shodai at Sekiwake 1 West?
He's been up there before, and obviously hasn't gone well. But as you say, it's been all about consistency. And the strange thing is, with Shodai, a lot of the time it's his performance relative to his talent that's disappointing. But his consistency, it doesn't make him that much different from a lot of the other talented competitors of his generation that are, all talented enough to make the next step, but haven't had the consistency to do it. He's just been horribly streaky. I think the thing about him is that even just maintaining that rank, or even just maintaining his place in Sanyaku, if he's able to get through this tournament without a really heavy Makekoshi and he even just steps back to Komusubi, I think that's in a lot of ways a win relative to his recent career results, and I think that would be fine.
Wow, great. So let's take a fun subject. Or at least it's fun for me. Let's talk about who we think might have a breakout tournament this March. So feel free to prognosticate, Andy. I know that you love to pull whoppers out of your left sock. So and you're frozen on screen again. So
Nuts.
so.
Am I?
Yeah, but your audio is still good. Andy, go ahead. We'll just it'll be like one of those 1970s foreign correspondent photos where you just put a still up of of the person. So your go. Talk about who you think's going to have a breakout basho.
Nishikigi. I think Nishikigi is gonna have a breakout.
Again. Oh my goodness. All right, keep going. Who else?
Well, I think I'm so tempted to say Shodai, but he's just too high to have a breakout tournament where he is. I think that Hokuto Fuji has been on simmer for a long time. He seems to be just there underneath where he's going to break out, and I think that he did have two bad, 7 and 8 tournaments in the last 6 months. And so I do think that I think he's due for especially with all of the churn up at the top.
Okay. Josh, who do you think's going to have a breakout tournament?
I'm going to stick with my calls from the previous podcast about Kiribayama and Koto Nowaka. I feel pretty good about those guys, so watch them both go 5-10.
Anyone else you want to throw in?
No, I don't.
Wisely so.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, hey, look, Andy's back, and he's moving around. He's
Yeah.
reanimated. Okay,
Skype says no to Hokuto Fuji. I'm sorry.
no, Skype loves Hokuto Fuji, so I'm going to go with my breakouts right now, and I am prepared to catch fire and be lowered into the center of the earth for at least 100 years. I believe we are going to see a breakout tournament from none other than Taka Keisho. I think he is going to run rampant like the COVID-19 virus through a fish market in Wuhan. I think he's going to tear things up. I think he may make a Yokozuna retire at the end of this tournament. I think we are going to see the beginning of Yokozuna Taka Keisho, because he has always been able to deliver in the clutch. Always been able to deliver in the clutch. And I think that he understands his position in history and what is expected of him to do next. I also think we may see a big tournament out of Yutakayama. I know I've been talking up Yutakayama a lot, but I think that he has been itching to get back within naval gunfire range of the top of the Sanyaku battle fleet, and I don't think he's going to let this one pass him by. So, I see everyone looking consternated at my strange predictions. Let's go straight down into the toilet. Let's talk about who's going to have the biggest Makikoshi this time out. All right, Andy, you're up. Talk about who you think will really, really blow it this time.
Endo. I mean, he's coming off of elbow surgery, and I don't even know why he would participate in this tournament. I mean, he should at
For
least
the chicks. I mean, why do you always participate? Never mind, go ahead.
The chicks aren't even going to be allowed near the
Well,
tournament.
he didn't know that.
And he needs to take time off, and the fact that he's even been doing Keiko is just disappointing. But I mean, we've seen how he's treating this as, oh well, it's going to be a chronic issue, and so I'm just gonna basically use it until he loses it, and we'll see how long that lasts. I'm kind of sad about that, because I had hopes for him, but I think he might be one of this year's Intai.
Oh, no. All right, Josh, who do you think's going to really blow it this time?
Wow, I don't have anything quite that extreme, I would say. But you wouldn't say the odds are good for Tokushoryu, but I do think he'll acquit himself well. I mean, you'd say for him 5-10 or 6-9 would even be respectable in the circumstances. He seems to be the biggest Banzuke mismatch. But I wouldn't say I'm a huge believer in Daiamami at this level in the top division. I think there could be a correction in store, for him and possibly for another one of the grizzled older veterans soon, kind of like we saw, a year, 2 years ago when like Takekaze started to tumble down. I think, one of those other guys from that generation will start to go soon. And I don't know how much gas Tamawashi has left in the tank. So, he could be that guy. It wouldn't surprise me if it was somebody else. And then finally, I kind of wonder in terms of who might be affected most by the atmosphere. If this could be a tricky tournament for someone like Teratsuyoshi, who's really sort of, it sort of draws a lot of intensity from the crowd reaction and everything else. So, I could see that impacting him pretty profoundly.
Okay, great. I also had Tokushoyu. I mean, who doesn't love that Cinderella story, right? Coming from the bottom of the Banzuke to Hoisei Emperor's Cup. Of course, they're going to put him pretty far up the Banzuke, but nobody be disappointed if he reverts to form, really. The other one's a heartbreaker. I really think that we're going to see another very big disappointment from Tochinoshin. There's nothing left in that knee, and without it, he's going nowhere. There's really no hope unless he has reconstructive knee replacement surgery, and he's done anyhow if that's the case. I also agree that Endo is going to have a really tough time. I think because mentally he has difficulty in the second week, and I think that he's coming in with less than 100% health. And so with that, it's on to the crown jewels of this segment. It's time to talk about who we think is going to take the U Show. Andy, you never fail to terrify, delight, and upset our listeners and viewers. What sort of snot Sunday have you prepared for us today?
Well, Skype kind of stole my thunder. I'm hoping for Hokuto Fuji U Show.
You really think so?
With this, yeah, I think Hokuto Fuji really, he's got it this tournament. He's gonna go. He's going to take the Emperor's Cup.
Oh wow, Josh, who do you think is going to take the U Show?
Wow, I'd love to say I'm terrified, delighted, and upset by those remarks, but
those are actually pretty in the in the median there, Andy. You've gone Maki Koshi on your predictive style.
The thing is, I mean, if I went something as crazy as saying Toka Shoryu, like last tournament, I couldn't even. I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe that one.
All right, well, I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead. What's your call?
So John Gunning did another typically excellent piece for the Japan Times, and he made the point that in this day and age, you have 42 U-Show contenders.
Right.
And so, typically I pick the Yokozuna because they tend to still combine to win every so often, and you can't really rule them out. But I don't know that I'm that confident about them this time. And I'm actually with Andy. I would love to see Hokuto Fuji do it. I've been really high on him for a while. Apart from him, weirdly, I could see Mitakeumi doing it again just because he has that winning knack and a total lack of consistency that I think will continue to undermine his career. And he's really, he falls down and then all of a sudden he comes back to win a tournament that no one else seems to want to win.
If he takes U-Show 3, that's just I'm going to really drink a lot. Just because, partially in celebration and partially because I think I'm in the wrong universe and I need to reboot somehow. But go ahead.
I mean, look, I didn't really see him grabbing that second one when he did, but you could see him doing it. You could see him getting back up to Sekiwake and then pissing away his momentum again.
Of course,
just as he always seems to do. I think I wonder if he's been affected mentally by missing, so many Ozeki chances, and
he's got to wear you down.
Yep.
Got to wear you down. Okay, well, I'll close out the show with something that I think a lot of fans may find a bit controversial, but of course I indicated earlier. I think we're going to see a Takakeisho U-Show, and I think that the notion of a possible Yokozuna run will be on following March, if they can make it to all 15 days. And with that, we close out our coverage leading up to the start of the Haru Basho. Thank you, Josh, joining us from Japan. Thank you, Andy, joining us from the Eastern United States. Everyone, thank you for watching and listening to our podcasts. And everyone, remember, enjoy the Basho while it lasts. Let's hope we can get all 15 days and everyone stays healthy. And for Sumo, it's Tachiai.